Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world today. I am so happy because today, you know, I always say that I bring on the best guests. And today I have a best guest.
Absolutely.
And see, she got to add her little absolutely in there too while I'm introducing her, okay? So, since my name is Maryam Bay, and since she decided to add her little stuff in there, you can now introduce yourself.
All right, so let me introduce myself. Hello, beautiful people, wonderful people of the world today. My name is Takiyah Diamond. I am a personal development author, speaker, coach, and trainer in the field of reality transformation and financial psychology. And what I do is I help my clients to transform their brains, their businesses, and their bank accounts. Because guess what? We can't change anything without first changing our mind. And so they call me the prosperity genius because, you know, my brain works a little bit different when it comes to money for most people.
I know it does.
And not only that, I'm also very well known for helping people to overcome trauma, overcome the different things that they've experienced in their lives, because you can't do it alone. If no one's there to kind of show you why you're in this space and how you can shift it, chances are you're going to stay stuck in it.
Yes.
So there I is.
Yes.
Diamond, guys.
Yes. Thank you so much
no
for that.
problem.
And let's continue because she is an author, and this is the book Untraumatized.
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
you wrote that last year, right?
Yes.
Yes, because that was when I
and
met you.
Yes.
Yes.
December.
Yes, that's
December.
right. Almost a year ago.
Yep. Not even. Oh yeah. Almost
next
a
month
year.
is December.
Damn, I've been here that long.
Yeah.
Because remember, I was visiting from Atlanta.
Yes.
And, okay.
Right.
It's time to go back home.
Right.
No one wants me to.
Everything
go.
is good.
Yes.
Everything is good, right?
Yes.
That's right. And see, and we need your energy.
Absolutely. I realized that. I said, you know, I think God made me stay in New Jersey because my energy was more so needed here than in Atlanta, you know. And
right.
so here I am.
Okay. and that's a blessing. And,
yes.
And television welcomed you.
And
I'm so grateful that you're on.
And listen, I'm grateful for you too, because you a fan of somebody that I'm a fan of, Mr. 50 Cent.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
Don't worry, before we
I'll
get
start
off.
doing many men.
You know, before we get off, Maryam Bay is gonna give y'all a piece of 50, okay? Because there's no way now that I know that I'm gonna let her get off. I don't care if this is about me. This ain't about me. This is about us. Now I gotta show her off a little bit too. You know, it's all good.
Okay. Well, Takiyah, tell the audience, why did you write this book? And you also have a new book.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So, wow. I have so many new books coming out of my head lately, you know, it's really amazing. But when it comes to writing Untraumatized, Untraumatized was sparked more so by, I had a lot of my clients who had experienced trauma, and me being an author coach and helping them to write their books and things like that and share their stories.
Oh, nice.
I was learning a whole lot about things that I had heard of, but I hadn't had the full extent experience of. Okay. So it wasn't to say that I didn't experience some of it. I've experienced it in different ways, but the way that a lot of them had experienced it was like, you know, I don't want to leave them with just feeling like they just going with a story. I want to help others find a solution. And the only way for me to do that is to literally do some additional research so that I can show them the solution. That way they can show others the solution. Mm-hmm. So Untraumatized was a book that literally came out of thin air, literally, and I'm not exaggerating. Everybody knows me for doing money mindset, business coaching, success coaching, life coaching, that type of thing. And one day I just got this download, and God said, "You're gonna write a book on trauma," and I was like, trauma? Because I always listen to what God says to me. You know, I have a very close personal relationship with the Most High.
That's right.
And I'm so grateful that I have it, because I don't know where I would be if I didn't listen to the guidance.
Right.
I definitely would have this
right.
book untraumatized for sure. So it was, okay, you're going to write this book on trauma. And not only that, then it kind of, when he said I was going to write a book on trauma, there was a part of me that was like, well, do I know enough? And then it was like, stop playing with yourself, girl. You've been through a lot of trauma yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
ask
I
you
had
that.
to step into the reality of, it wasn't really more so my trauma, but the people that I was dealing with. I found myself in relationships. Like, I literally had to take a step back one day and just look at all my past relationships and look at all the patterns of the people that I was with, in order for me to say, okay, what am I doing? Is it something that I'm doing?
Right.
But I realized that it wasn't really so much about what I was doing. However, I did find a fault that I did have, which was, I tend to be extremely over understanding, over empathetic, which sometimes allows people to take my kindness for weakness and take me for granted. And it's like, oh, well, we know she'll be all right. She ain't even gonna stay mad. That's the truth. I'm not gonna stay mad. But that doesn't give you the right to mistreat me, disrespect me, abuse me, whether it be verbally, mentally, physically, or what have you, you know? So I had to really take a look back, and I realized that I had a track record of attracting codependent relationships.
Okay.
It was always people who don't want to let me go, don't want to give me my space, don't want to detach from me. And I get it more so now, because I realize the energy and the frequency that I emanate. Who would want to be around me, somebody like me? You know, who wouldn't want that to themselves? However, it was unhealthy for me, you know, like, I had to have my own space. I have to have my own mental time to think. And if you're next to me, I'm drawn into your world. And your world and my world are two different spaces. Now, I'm cool with joining your world at times, but I have my own world that I have to process, and I have to, you know.
Right.
So I think after looking at myself and noticing my ways of having too big of a heart, you know, being too understanding, I had to really learn how to set some boundaries. And, you know, not everybody likes Takiyah's boundaries, but they are necessary, because I'm such a spiritual being and I vibrate at a really high frequency. People who, and I'm not saying this to judge nobody or make it seem like I'm better than anybody else.
No, I get it.
But people who have experienced a lot of things when it comes to trauma, half the time they're not even recognizing they're behaving this way. They don't even know. So take somebody like me who has experienced some things, who God has spoken to, who God has revealed some things to when it comes to personality disorders such as narcissism, borderline personality disorder, sociopathy, you know, just all of these different personality disorders. And that's where Untraumatized came up. So I came to the understanding that it was never really about the trauma that I had experienced with them, because for whatever reason, a lot of the trauma that other people experienced that I dealt with, they may have tried to project that, but for whatever reason, I guess the anointing over my life, it never penetrated. Okay. But it definitely allowed me to be an observer of people's behaviors, and understanding that sometimes not everybody has the same wiring in our brain. Do we all have a brain? Yes, we do, but is it all wired the same? No. We all got different stories that are contributing to the way that we react to things, the way that we respond to things. And I praise God that I have been chosen to respond differently. Like, I'm not the type to just go off and go crazy, and you could curse me out and I just sit there and be like, oh yeah, that's how you feel, okay. Where, you know, if I was to mimic my mother, I'm not like my mother. I'm more like my dad. I'm more of a humble, come on, let's talk it out. Like, oh my God, stop screaming, all that. But my mom, she's the opposite. She's a Leo, so she's like, you're gonna hear me.
Yeah, she's fire.
Yeah, she's fire. So, and I'm a Libra, so I'm more like balance. So anything that takes me out of balance, I'm running for the hills.
Okay.
That's just me. But that's my coping mechanism, so to speak, or more so what I've learned that's my way of protecting myself. I gotta get away from you because no matter what I say to you, you're not going to understand it from my perspective because you can't understand that the way that I think, or you may think that, oh, my way of thinking can be very elusive. You might feel like, oh, she's just in the clouds. No, I'm not in the clouds. I'm just on a different vibration where you are. It's just so low for me that I can't stay there, so now I have to get away from you.
Well, you know what I'm hearing and everything that you're talking about, you know, as far as the boundaries,
yes,
what you're going to accept and not accept.
Yes.
You know, the key thing that I hear, because I don't hear anything wrong with what you just said.
Absolutely not.
No.
I just end up with a lot of people upset with my decisions.
But that's their issue.
It's okay.
That's right. That's their issue.
Not my problem.
And then when we do things like that, we're protecting ourselves.
Right.
But more importantly, we're loving ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know,
but the thing is that in that moment, whoever it is, they can't see that as you loving yourself.
Of course.
They see that as your lack of love towards them.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't love me because you're not doing what it is that would make me feel better.
Right.
But one thing we have to understand, how selfish is that?
Exactly.
You know, yeah, how selfish is that? It's not okay for me to feel what I feel, but it's okay for me to be drowned and bombarded with what you've experienced.
Right.
If anything is going to work out, there has to be a balance. You have to be open to hear me in order for me to be able to heal with you, and I have to be able to heal you in order for me to be able to heal with you. But we can't heal together if everything I say is
right. Yes.
When that's not even the case, Maryam, right?
Right.
Half the time we're not attacking. Most of the time we're really just trying to communicate it in a different way to make it less offensive. But depending on who you're talking to, no matter how you say it, they're still gonna be offensive.
Well, see, that's why with me, I don't care.
I know.
Like, you know.
I know that's right. I had to get that point with me either. It's just like, and it's not even in a nasty way. Like, I don't care.
Exactly.
You know,
like,
it's just, I have no control of the outcome of how you feel. None whatsoever.
Right.
So I cannot allow myself to be drowned and drained because I'm trying to support somebody else's emotions. I'm trying to balance your emotion. I'm trying to keep you all right. And in the process, I'm losing myself.
And see, and as you said, that's selfish.
Right.
You know,
it's very selfish.
Yeah.
Even when we do it, even when we have expectations of them understanding us all of the time in the way that we want them to understand us, that's selfish of us too.
Right.
Because guess what? This person may not have the capacity to understand from your level. Or sometimes they understand, but they just choose not to, you know, deal with you from that space.
Right.
But I've come to a point where it's like, it is what it is. You know, I'm not in control of what you do. The only thing I could do is be an example of what's possible for you.
Right.
Which is, I'm humble, you know, but if you take me off, it's not going to be cute. But it take a lot.
Yeah.
It take a lot to get me there, but once you get me there, it's like, okay, now I done turned into the lion. Now I'm roaring. Nobody likes to see Takiyah roar.
You know what? What I learned when I was working inside the prison system was that people have to understand how they must love their own company.
Absolutely.
You know, because I'm not responsible for your happiness.
Absolutely.
If you're not happy with yourself, it's not my responsibility to make you happy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so I would see that, and I would say that to the brothers, because I mainly work with brothers.
Yes.
And I would see them doing that to their talking, to their moms
okay.
and talking to their girlfriends or their wives and everything,
Trying
and
to
holding
blame.
them responsible.
Right, like you did what you did, but I'm responsible. But
Right.
okay.
Right, and so
In your world.
Yes, and I would say to them after they get off the phone, I said, well, why would you hold somebody responsible
For your happiness.
for your feelings?
Absolutely.
And also hold them responsible for where you work to get to.
Yes.
Yes. So, and I told him, I said, you have to think about that, because if you don't love yourself, meaning if you don't love your company,
right.
how do you expect somebody else
Yes,
to love it?
Yes, I totally agree.
And the funny thing was that when we would have that conversation, because as you just said earlier, some don't realize that.
They don't. And that's where emotional intelligence comes in at, and emotional maturity. You have to be emotionally mature to have an understanding that, unfortunately, as much as you would really love for this person to life to be much easier, if they would just flip the switch just a little bit. But based on their experience, they may have tried to be positive. They may have tried that. Mm-hmm. But because their outcomes always look the way that they look, it's like, why should I be positive? Why should I be that? But being positive works for me. So don't come and infect my positivity, because that's how I operate. But I also have to be understanding on the other hand that the other person may not feel the same way I do based on whatever they experience.
Exactly.
Now, I know on a deeper level, even if you're trying to be positive, it's like a bank account, right? If you overdraw your bank account and you got a negative balance of $5,000, every time you put more money in that balance to try to make it positive or bring it current, what's happening? You still have a negative balance until you put enough in there in order to bring it current.
Right.
So, because I understand that they've put so much negativity that when they try to put in positivity, the default programming of their brain is going to revert back to the old programming, because that's what it's used to. That is its default. So although the person may want to shift, they may want to think positive, they may want to do that, but something will always happen in their life that will set them back to the default programming until they put enough positivity more and more and more, despite what's happening around them, because the shit's gonna hit the fan, because you're trying to shift your level of consciousness, and your brain is like, ego is like, what are you doing? We've been thinking this way for the past 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and now here you come wanting to change things. It's gonna fight you. And we have to understand that, listen, that's just the way that it is. It's universal law. It's the way that your brain works. It's quantum physics. It's just what it is, And once we gather that part of truly understanding that we have to be in control, we can't allow ourselves to lose ourselves because we're witnessing certain things. We have to do the things that are required in the process of us witnessing. Something I like to say often is, you can't be offended and effective at the same time. There's no way. If I'm offended, how can I be effective? But I can be effective in the midst of me being offense, right? In offense. Also, what's another one I like to say? You have to seek the opportunity in the midst of the opposition. Yes, the opposition is gonna be there. We don't get to escape it. Nobody's exempt.
Right.
I don't care how good their life look like on TV. They got millions of dollars. They drive 30,000 cars, and they go home at night and they're miserable as hell.
Oh yeah, they got issues.
Beyond.
Yeah.
Beyond,
Right.
So we really have to learn, as you stated, to take responsibility for ourselves, our own happiness. I can't be. I'm glad. I want to be your everything, but I would be more happy to be your everything when you realize you're the everything that you need for yourself, and I'm an add-on to your everything.
Right, like you're complimenting.
Right, right. But
yes.
You can't don't just take me away from me to where I don't even have anything to give.
Yeah, and then when they take you, they're taking you out from becoming the person
yes,
who you are.
I'm right.
Yes,
right,
you know. So that's why it's important for them to address their issues.
Right.
And also it's important because I've noticed this myself.
Yes.
That it's important for them to have people who are sitting or standing in front of them who are expecting them to get it right.
Yep.
You know, because it is a process.
It is a process.
It didn't take them overnight. For example, it didn't take me, I just lost 50 pounds.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So
you didn't do that right. You didn't wake up the next day and was like,
exactly.
50 pounds.
Okay, right. It was a process.
Congratulations, though. You got
it. Thank you. Hey, 50-50.
Ain't that part.
But anyway, everything is a process.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yes.
And what I'm finding out now, more importantly, people who have gone through traumas, like I've gone through trauma.
Yes.
You know, I'm 73 years old.
Yes.
So
looking like I don't know, she looking gooder than a Snicker, right, y'all? She don't look like she knows 73. I don't know who she lying to, but okay.
No, I was born April the 6th, 1951.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Wow.
And I went through trauma. And one of the worst traumas that I went through, which I talked
yes.
on your podcast, was when I was 15 years old. I was raped by my father.
Yes.
And that was the reason why I came to Newark. Because my mother didn't believe me.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And then for 10 years I cried. Because all of that was traumatic.
Absolutely. And then you never had no one to really express it to because the main person that you wanted to believe you didn't.
Right. But here's the thing though. I realized in my 30s why my mother had to do what she did.
Oh, and that was the eye opener.
Yes. I said, well, I really and I understood it then because back in that time women were so supportive of men.
Absolutely.
For their husbands. And plus she had 4 other children.
Right.
She had to take care of. And this is what she said to me when I finally approached her about it. She said, I knew you would make it because you're strong. I said, well, thank you. You know, because I did, you know, went through all of that.
Right.
And this is what I realized with those of us who, you know, who have gone through traumas like that. No matter what the trauma is, because no matter what trauma you have, someone else has had that trauma or something similar to it.
Something similar, yeah.
And this is what I realized when I started working in the prison system.
Yes.
Every woman that I worked with had been raped by someone that they knew.
That was where that was your calling.
That was,
you know, unfortunately, you know, and I know some people say, you know, it's like a catch-22 with this thing, right? Because it's like we hear that you know, the things that we experienced it for a reason because we have to show other people the way.
That's right.
But then on the other side of things, on the flip side of things, we experience these things based on the decisions that other people have made.
Right.
Right?
That's why it's so traumatizing.
Right.
Because here it is, I'm 15 years old. Why would your father
do that to me?
Yeah,
right.
You know?
And then that's where now your insecurity comes in, right?
Yeah.
And now you start to feel shame and guilt.
No, stop right there.
Okay.
I was not ashamed and I was not guilty because I did not feel guilty because I knew I didn't do anything. And what I did was I told. You know?
Right. That's the truth.
Told,
that's the truth.
Because people need to know what had happened, even though I was 15 years old.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And so going through that trauma the way that I did, how things end up when you continue to go through or grow through.
Yes.
You become who you are destined to be. Because were it not for the fact that I had not experienced that, The sisters who were in there, and these are black, white, Latino sisters and everything.
How would you have been
I had
assistance
not
to them,
gone
right?
through that, how could I have helped them?
You can't relate. You
Yeah,
wouldn't have been.
exactly.
I get it.
And then I noticed when they were talking, and this is with brothers and sisters,
Yes.
when they start talking about their trauma, when they start talking and they're crying, they're still stuck there.
Yeah.
They haven't moved. Because I know that with me, years and years and years ago, if I started talking about this,
Right.
I would be crying.
I understand.
And
but
no.
you know what's true too, man, is that most people, when whether they talk about it or just think about it, in that moment, they are that 15-year-old again. They are that 9-year-old again when their mother
Exactly.
abused
They're
them.
stuck there. That's where they're stuck at.
And
It's
so
the little boy. It's the little girl.
Right.
So we have to
If
heal.
you thinking that you're getting yelled at by a grown man or a grown woman, but in that moment, it's the little boy in him that has not been healed yet, that's crying out for mommy to listen. You just happen to be mommy in that moment, even though you're not mommy.
Right.
But it's the opposite goes for the women as well. You don't have no father figures in your life or what have you. You see that this man is a good man or whatever the case may be, and then the same thing happens. The same thing, you know.
Trauma is trauma.
Yes.
And it's how. Well, I know for me personally, I wanted to heal myself, and one of the ways that I healed myself was through singing. You know,
let me hear some,
singing
Maryam.
and dancing.
Let me hear some.
You know,
let me hear some.
and that's what I used for the sisters when I started the Saturday group for them. I used music.
I love it.
To get them to understand that they did nothing wrong. Because see, I listened to the lyrics.
Right.
And when I listen to the lyrics, a lot of the lyrics are about improving things, loving yourself. Like the songs that I listen to, like with Mary, go get your blessing.
Yes.
You know.
Oh, right.
You know.
Right.
So I want them to understand in cases like that, because you are absolutely right. When things happen to us young, then we think it's our fault.
Right.
We think that we're to blame for it.
Right.
But we're not.
Right.
It's something that we had to go through. And then I gave them the experience of other women who went through that and who are successful today.
Right.
You know.
That's the key right there. The main thing is not really so much about what you went through. It's about how you handle what you've been through, right?
Yes.
And if you keep making yourself a victim, guess what? You can't change what happened. What happened. But what am I going to do now?
Because
what
you know why?
Do differently?
Yes, but see, here's the thing.
Okay.
Those sisters need to hear what I said to them.
What you said, that's
because
right.
they were still the victims.
That's right.
They were still stuck there.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then when I brought it to them, they said, well, Miss Bay, you don't look like you've been raped. I said, well, what does a raped person look like?
How you gonna say what? So I don't look like I've been raped. And then, I don't look like I've been robbed either, right?
And then I would say to them, what we go through, we don't look like what we go through.
Absolutely not.
Okay?
Yes.
So you know what? I just got the signal that we have to
get
wrap
ready
up.
to wind down.
Look at, you see how fast the time goes?
We're going to have to change your time to 1 hour.
Yes,
we're going to have to do that. I have to pay the other half.
I want to thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for coming out. And thank you so much for viewing us today. And when you go on our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. We really would appreciate that.
And guys, please don't forget to follow me. Follow me, Takiyah TK Diamond.
Yes.
Mine's up.